for giving such opportunity. Yeah.
And
So
just a minute, I'll start with your introduction. Okay, so good afternoon, all of you. Today we have Mr. Tripati Pandal with us on the topic on the webinar, which Spring the Boot Framework. Okay, so thank you, ma'am. Now over to you. I'll set your screen and we start here. Okay.
yeah, thank you so much for Parur University. Yeah, giving such a opportunity to me. So we start with our presentation with a topic we have today. We are looking at spring boot. Yes. Yeah. Next slide. So here, spring actually the evolution of spring comes why to develop a web-based application and REST-based application. So today we will see the Spring. What is Spring? The framework Spring architecture. Then after Spring, there is a uh, extension of Spring. We can call it as a Spring Boot. So what is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot? What are the new features added in Spring Boot? What is been in Spring? And what are the project layers in Spring? So that we will see. So start with our Spring framework. So actually Spring it's developed by Rod Johnson and his team in June 2003 for Apache 2.0. So this is the application framework for developing Java application. So mainly we here focused that is enterprise edition application, that is a web-based application and REST-based application. So the features of Spring, it is a open source that is freely available. It's lightweight. So as we know that lightweight keyword, then loosely coupled. What is loosely coupled? That is in Java we have the two classes. Okay, we have created suppose class A and class B, and we created object of B into A. Then here what happened, we are tightly coupling that class A and class B by creating object. How we create object? That is with the help of new keyword. So that creation of the object in one class and giving whole dependency of A on B. That is what tightly coupling. So Spring avoids tightly coupling. It provides loosely coupling. How? We will see. Then container. Actually Spring have its own container. So Spring container, it manages all the life cycle of the Spring objects. Okay. What is object in Spring that we will see? We'll see. Then there is a aspect oriented programming, that is a one feature provided by Spring, and dependency injection. So we'll see one by one that dependency injection. So next slide. What is dependency management in our project? So like one component, we can say that one class, it's a dependent upon another component. So by creating object into means that dependent component. Okay, one so here one component, that is we can say that is a main component, and another that is a dependent component. So when we are creating the object of dependent into main, that is what we are doing dependency lookup. So in main component we have to write the logic to search and get the dependent component object. So here writing of logic in main component, that is a overhead. So that's why Spring introduced a dependency injection. So we do not need to write the logic for creating the object of dependent component into main component. Do not write logic to search that dependent component. So we will Spring has evolved that dependency injection. So what is dependency injection, that we will see next. See, the dependency injection, the another word it says the inversion of control. So whatever the control is in doing in our normal Java project, that we have inversed. That means, see, the container, that means Spring container, it's dynamically create dependent class objects and assigns the dependent class object to main class. So here coder do not have to write the logic to create object, to search object of dependent class. So Spring container manage all the things. That is, it creates dynamically object and assigns that object to dependent class. So that is our dependency injection. So this is the one of the most important feature availed by Spring. Next, now what is a Spring container? Okay, so it will create the objects, wire them together, configure them, and manage their complete life cycle from creation till destruction. So as in our normal Java project, how we create the object with the help of new keyword. Then when we have to deallocate the memory, that's Java has that garbage collection, that feature. Okay, so that we have to take care of all that things. But here Spring container manage all that things. So dependency injection is managed by Spring container. There are two types of containers. It is bin factory container and application context container. Bin factory, we will see what is mean by bin. Okay, so bin factory, it's a maintaining registry of different bins and their dependencies. So in short, I will just describe that what is bin. It's a like in the means in the Spring terminology, see we can say that it's like a object. So it manages it bin factory maintains the all the registry of different bins and their dependencies. Application context container, its ability to resolve textual message from properties file. uh, I will show the what is property file. Otherwise I just describe what is that property file at when we see the last hands-on. So it includes all the functionality of the bin factory container defined by org.springframework.context.application context interface. Okay, so this is our Spring container. So it manages all the life cycle of object. Then there are Spring provides two types of containers: bin factory container and application context container. Next, see, for developing any project, actually we follow our SDLC. Then we start with our coding. Then during coding, we have to take care about uh, that server sides coding, front view, okay, then database management, and then last we have to perform that testing. So Spring provides this whole process in that Spring framework have this whole process under one proof. That is what? So with the Spring, you can write the server side coding. Okay, then you just add the front view. Okay, what is the front end that we have to develop that you can add in the Spring. Okay, next, database management. So for database management, Spring can use JDBC also and ORM also. ORM, OXM, JSM. Okay. So JDBC, that you will see, otherwise some of you have learned that JDBC. So the normal JDBC, that connectivity, how we create statements, how we execute that statements, that also the tech means that also included in Spring. We can use that. But if you don't want to write that lines of code which comes in JDBC, you can go through Hibernate. Okay, JPA. So Hibernate, it's basically ORM, that is object relation modeling. Okay, so object relation mapping. So here what happened, ki whatever we have the entities in our project, that will be mapped to tables. Okay, we do not write separate means script for tables. Okay, then transactions, data actually, what is whatever the database management related operation that have to manage the transactions, as you know, save, commit, rollback. So this is also managed under Spring. Next, we have that Spring have bins. Sorry, previous. Sorry, Barka. Huh. That Spring container. Okay, that it has a bins, it has a special language, expression language. We create web-based application using Spring. So, and again we have the last, that is testing. Testing process is more important. So testing, it's so JUnit. So that's come under Spring. So this whole process is come under one roof, Spring. So this is what your Spring architecture. Next, now we come that difference between Spring and Spring Boot. So as we mentioned, Spring, it is our open source lightweight framework used to develop enterprise application. But Spring Boot, it is a, you can say it is extension of Spring. It is it is widely used for developing REST APIs, okay, and web-based applications. So most important in Spring, what we have uh, the dependency injection was the most important feature of the Spring. Dependency injection come in Spring Boot also, but along with dependency injection, it has provided that auto configurations. Okay, you need not no need to write configurations as you write in Spring. So what is configuration, that I will explain. Okay, uh, just remember, that is Spring Boot provides auto configuration. So then one more feature, Spring Boot, it has an embedded server. When you want to run any web application, you need a web server like Apache, Tomcat. Okay, so that server you need not to explicitly install in Spring Boot. It comes embedded into Spring Boot framework. Whereas in Spring, we have to set that server explicitly. So in Spring Boot, there are a lot of auto configurations, as I mentioned. So you can reduce number of lines of code. Okay. So that is a main feature of your Spring Boot framework. Again, Spring Boot has provided in-memory database. So I hope you heard that word in-memory database. So you need not to install, okay, like MySQL, Oracle database. You can directly use that H2 database which is available in Spring Boot framework. You can use that database to save your data. So this is what a extension of a Spring, that is your Spring Boot. Okay. So next slide, please. Yeah, as we were discussing that bin. Okay. So bin, it is a what? It is an object that is instantiated, assembled, managed by a Spring IOC container. So that Spring container provides bin factory container, as I mentioned, which maintains the registry of all the bins and its dependency. So what is the registry? So which class, name of the class, then in which class we have to mention the bin of a class. Suppose A is the class and B is the class. So in B class, I want to take bin of A. Then I will just specify in B class that I want a bin of A with the help of at the rate bin annotation. Okay, next. That Spring configuration, we have the XML based configuration, Java based configuration. Now, XML based configuration, what I mentioned in previous slide, that is difference between Spring and Spring Boot. That Spring Boot has a auto configuration, whereas in Spring we have to write all the details of the bin, means which object they have to create in which class, what is its a dependency, that what's the name we are giving to that object. So that we are maintaining in Spring in one XML file. Okay. So that writing of XML file in Spring, that avoids in Spring Boot. So uh, instead of using XML based configuration, mostly we are using Java based configuration. Now Java based configuration, what is that? That we are using at bin, at component. So these two annotation. So these are the, now when you are talking about Spring and Spring Boot, you will face different annotations. So uh, that bin we can create with the help of at component. So when if I want to write the class A, so suppose class A, then the methods and their attributes. Okay. Now on that class A, suppose I want to declare this is a component. What is the benefit of a component? At the rate component, that when the Spring runs the program, so it checks where checks the at component annotation. So on the class A, if there is a at component annotation, then Spring will create its bin and store it. And whenever required, that class A object, and wherever required, it provides. Okay, so that is a benefit of at component. Then by using at bin in any non-component class, means the class which is not annotated with at component, okay, that is converted into bin with the help of at the bin annotation. Okay, next. Okay, now we will see the Spring Boot project layers. Okay, so suppose I want to create a Spring Boot project. So how we will create? Then we have that 3 4 methods. Okay, So on Google, go to spring.io.start.io.spring. Okay, that's Spring Initializer website. Just go there. Then it will ask the project, means which project management tool have we have to use. There are two means tools available, that is Maven and Gradle. So you can select any. So suppose you have selected Maven, then there you have to write the details of the project, name of the project, group ID. Okay, then after that you have to select the Java version, and you can select 8, 11. Suppose I selected 8. Then there is a facility to add the dependency. So you can add the dependency and generate that project. So you just click on the generate, and you can open that project in any ID, that Intel IJ. Then you can see that project will be download the all the dependencies, and it will show you folder structure of the project. Okay, now when we create the project, so there are different layers come in that project folders. Okay, so presentation layer, so whatever the authentication or security mechanism that you have to apply, that coding part will come under presentation layer. Okay, next business layer, that is your controller, means whatever the logic, validation and authorization, that will come into business layer. Persistence layer means here we are defining the how you are storing the data into database. Okay, storage, how you are going to store the entities data. Then last, it's a actual database. So see, presentation layer interact with your business layer interact with persistence layer, and persistence layer interact with database. So these are the main 4 layers in Spring Boot project. Okay, next. Yeah, presentation layer, it has your controller. Controller means what? When you suppose we are developed one web project, say for example, that is our login window. So suppose that's running on my machine, that's localhost, and it's running on port 8081. So in browser, I just type localhost colon 8081 slash login, suppose slash login. So when I enter that slash login, and when I press enter, so that request goes to some class. Now that class is mapped, that all the request, okay, on some methods. So that is your controller. Now controller calls the services, and service, it is a what? Suppose on login window you have entered username and password. So whether that user exists, for that username and password, that function will be stored in service. So in controller we call the service. Now service have the logic to check whether exactly that user is present. So with the help of database query, we can check from repository. Yeah. So repository, it is a nothing but you are writing the SQL queries, not like means exactly not SQL. Okay, but you can say that is a database queries are present in repository layer, and then that query will fetch and get record from your actual database, whether you are using MySQL, Oracle, or anything. So this is what the communication between layers: presentation layer, business layer, persistence layer, and database. In presentation layer, controllers, business, actual logic, that is a service, persistence, that is the storage of data. Means you are getting data from your storage. That's all. Next. Yeah, that what is now I explained that is a flow of Spring Boot any project. So when you fetch the request from browser or any through any REST API, so client will request that URL. Okay, that URL goes to controller. Controller, it's nothing but your class where the mapping of your request to method it's going to be done. So again that request will be of type get put patch. Okay, and controller it's interacting with service layer, and service it's interacting with your model. Model it's nothing but your repository. Okay, just I explained in previous slide. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Just
Okay, so here I have mentioned that project Lombok. Okay, so I just want to introduce this topic because many times what happen when we create the class, that when we create the entity, we have to write all the uh, attributes. Okay, that attributes we are writing, then getter and setter method for that attributes with along with no argument constructor, then argument constructor, then we have to write the toString equals hash code. These are the methods we have to generate. Now what happen, this will increase your line of code. So to avoid that, you can just use this project Lombok dependency in your project. Now, where you can see this adding of dependency. So suppose I created project from Spring Initializer site. Okay, we downloaded as I explained earlier. We download that project, and when we open that project in any IDE, suppose I have created project with the help of Maven tool, then on that project structure you can see the pom.xml file. So pom.xml it manages all the dependencies. So in that means earlier what happened in normal Java project, we have for any dependency we have to install the separately jar and have to give the path of that jar. So what happened ki, in project Lombok you just in pom.xml you just mention the dependency name of the dependency in the dependency tag. So Maven automatically downloads that dependency from internet, and it will save in local repository. So whenever you again open that project, no need to download it again. It's already saved in your local repository. So as like you just mention this project Lombok dependency in pom.xml. Okay. So this Lombok avoids a line of code. It has that annotation add data, add getter, setter, no argument constructor, all argument constructor, toString equals hash code, non null. So these are the annotation associated with Lombok. So that's useful when you create entity in Spring Boot project. Okay, next. So as I mentioned here, key how you create Spring Boot project. So with the help of spring.io.initializer web site. Otherwise, when you are using Eclipse, so in Eclipse, that in marketplace, you can search the Spring Boot, Spring Boot, uh, uh, Spring Boot project. Otherwise, you can use Spring Tool Suite. It's just like another other IDEs, okay, STS, or you can use CLI. Okay, so these are the ways you can create the Spring Boot project. So here we have seen all the uh, what are the features of the Spring Boot and difference between Spring and Spring Boot. Then project different layers in Spring Boot project. What is bin? What is Spring container? How it manages the bin life cycle. Then again in Spring Boot, we have seen the flow architecture of whole project, how it's interactive, that client interacts with controller, controller interacts with service, service with repository, that's your model, and then your repository interact with your actual database. So then we have seen the project Lombok, how that is used in to create entity in Spring Boot project, and here last we have seen the how we create Spring Boot project. So here we have done with our presentation. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time and this wonderful session. Thank you from behalf of Parul University. Thank you so much.
Thank you.